Welcome to the December 2021 Star Wars Canon Update. Last month we got 12 new comics, 1 new short story, and the premiere episode of the Book of Boba Fett, so let's dive in. Obviously, we're gonna start with the Book of Boba Fett. It's so great to have live-action Star Wars again. It just seems like it makes the fandom come together a little bit more. Everyone is engaged. Even though I didn't love Boba Fett's premiere episode, I think it was a strong start. It's wild to finally see him escape the Sarlacc pit. That's been part of Star Wars since the 90s, but still, we got to see it. I'm way more interested in the crime lord side of this story, but I absolutely still have questions about Fett's past. I kinda hope we zip through the flashbacks though. They were my least favorite part of the episode. No matter what, people seem to just be having fun talking about the Book of Boba Fett, and I love that. I won't spend too much time talking about this because I figure anyone watching this channel has probably seen the episode for themselves, so let's dive into some High Republic stuff. The High Republic issue 12 was exciting and emotional, moving us towards a big showdown between the Jedi and the Nihil. Avar Kriss prepares to lead an assault on No Space, the closest thing their enemy has to a home, but she's butting heads with Stellan, Sskeer, and Keeve while they all grapple with whatever happened to Serret and Tarek. We also learn that Skeer's troubles connecting with the Force are thanks to some Trandoshan disease that causes his base instincts to take control. And Trandoshan instincts are aggressive, violent, and dark side related, so his brain is subconsciously fighting all of those feelings and basically taking up space in his mind so that he is struggling to use the Force. But still, the team put aside their conflict for now to head off to No Space for a fight. Trail of Shadows issue 3 continued to be very good. I'm still loving the noir genre set in Star Wars. Stellan and Emmerich both tease each other for their past and present relationships, but not in a judgmental way, again highlighting the differences between the Jedi of this era and the prequels. But we also finally start to get more information on the Leveler, the monster that calcified Loden Greatstorm. That information is still vague, but basically tells us that accounts of how it appears and acts don't add up. I'm starting to wonder if it's even real, or at least not corporeal, like it might be a spiritual attack through the Force rather than a physical attack. I don't think we're going to learn anything substantial until the next adult novel, but these teases have been fun. Emmerich and Cyan's frustration in their investigation does lead to them growing closer, and meanwhile, we see some cracks in the Nihil as Dr. Uttersond is trying to betray Marchion Ro. The High Republic Adventures issue 11 was fun, but fairly inconsequential. It's literally a break from all the doom and gloom as we head into what looks like a very dark third wave of stories for Phase 1 of the High Republic era. The Padawans race around Starlight Beacon for some fun shenanigans with little cameos from other characters like Stellan Gios, Emmerich, and Cyan with scenes that we actually saw in Trail of Shadows, so that was fun. Meanwhile, Crix's Nihil underlings plan on betraying him and giving him up to the Jedi. Their plan is to manipulate a run-in with his old friend Zine, who they expect he will kill, which they then expect will cause the Jedi to kill him. And Lula's inner monologue in this issue suggests that that plan could work. The High Republic Adventures Annual was a collection of 5 stories, each one written by a different luminous author. It was fine. It felt more like a Star Wars Adventures comic with stories that just didn't get enough time to breathe. I did really enjoy Loden's flashback story about helping people in spite of their bad choices, and the introduction of the Crash character was good, knowing we're going to see her in the book soon. There was also a short story in Star Wars Insider called Starlight Shadows Remain by Justina Ireland. These are still kind of set apart from the rest of the High Republic era, but not for long. I have read The Fallen Star already, so no spoilers, but this short story does feed into the next novel nicely. I still wouldn't say get a subscription to Star Wars Insider just for these shorts, but this one was pretty good. Moving out of the High Republic, let's get into the first issue of Crimson Reign. It was great. Just like the High Republic and the War of the Bounty Hunters, this feels like it will elevate Star Wars comics and tell a really big and important story. Kira is sending her various allies out into the galaxy to just create as much chaos as they can. Her first targets are the criminal syndicates, basically putting them all at each other's throats and manipulating them into killing each other, all while Crimson Dawn sits back and enjoys the show. Black Sun is a big part of this issue, and Prince Shizor gets a mention. No appearance yet, but I was still very pleased to hear the name. Each issue looks like it'll be about a different set of allies Kira has, and I really like that structure. The final page of the issue also makes it clear the story will be a tragedy, which raises the stakes since we don't know what happens to Kira in the end. I'm hopeful she makes it out alive, but she's not being painted in the best light right now either. I'm very invested in this new series. Darth Vader issue 18 started to deal with the fallout of the War of the Bounty Hunters. Vader is putting a crew together to hunt down Crimson Dawn, so far made up of members of the Assassin's Guild and a handful of vigilantes who view the Sith Lord as some sort of savior. That's an interesting take. They're on a remote world and don't know who he is. They just know the oppression of Crimson Dawn, who are appearing far less noble than Kira was letting on in War of the Bounty Hunters. Her goal of spreading the Empire's power and wealth out across the galaxy is, at its core, not bad, but her organization's methods certainly are. We also see that Sabe, Padme's former decoy, is now working with Crimson Dawn as well, which is an interesting development, but also a direction I wouldn't expect Sabe to go. I'm glad the character is coming back into the story, but I need to see how ingrained in Crimson Dawn's darkness she has become. Darth Vader issue 19 was alright. I still like Valance being blackmailed into working with the Empire, and he has a good perspective on what it means to be part of the Imperial machine. His interactions with Ochi of Bestoon were good, especially when Ochi complained about being used as bait. The end builds to the team learning more about the Crimson Dawn spies hidden throughout the Empire. Right now, I'm a little confused about how this is furthering Vader's development towards Return of the Jedi. I understood it very well when this series was just beginning and Sabe was part of the story, but now I'm unsure. Sabe will be entering the story again in issue 20, so I look forward to seeing how that shakes things up. Bounty Hunters issue 18 and 19 were closely tied with the Darth Vader comics. There was some good juxtaposition of Valance's original motivations for joining the Empire as a young man and his current situation very much against how they operate and treat people. He's really growing on me as a character, and I like seeing how someone who really believed in the Empire can see the truth behind it and change. But now he's stuck and forced to kill whoever Darth Vader demands, and he passes his first test in spectacular and dramatic fashion, and it had some fun ties with the TIE Fighter comic that came out a couple years ago. In Tonga's side of the story, we're getting a lot more with Bosk and Zuckuss and Tasu Leech, which excites me. I've wanted this series to do more with the OG bounty hunters, and now that's happening. I'm still not really invested in their mission of finding Cordelia to supposedly end the war with the underworld. It never really grabbed me from the start. I appreciate the shakeup War of the Bounty Hunters gave this series, but it's still just kind of there for me every month. Star Wars issue 19 was great, probably the best issue of the main Star Wars run in a long time. Luke has a list of Jedi locations, and he's now investigating to learn more. We see a lot of familiar locations, which is fun, but he winds up on Aldalim, where Vader battled the Jedi Kirak Infala in the Darth Vader comics. He tries and fails to enter an Imperial warehouse using a mind trick because he has a bit of a mental block with his new mechanical hand. He considers just charging in with his lightsaber, cutting all the stormtroopers down, but he instead puts his lightsaber away, centers himself, and tries the mind trick again, succeeding this time. He walks away with a holocron of Yoda, and I like that he will get more teachings from his second master. And finally, Star Wars Adventures issue 13 had two short comic stories. The first was about Rey and Finn helping a surly smuggler hide from the First Order, and the second one I actually liked a lot, about a young archivist trying to keep Jedi relics out of the hands of Darth Vader, and it was surprisingly dark for a story aimed at a young audience. For Story of the Month, I don't think it's a big surprise to say the Book of Boba Fett. It's really difficult to beat live-action Star Wars, but I do want to give honorable mention to Crimson Reign. I really enjoyed its first issue, and it seems like it will be telling a bigger, galaxy-affecting story. In January, we're getting 4 more episodes of the Book of Boba Fett, the start of Wave 3 of the High Republic with the novel The Fallen Star by Claudia Gray, 10 new comic issues, and the second part of the High Republic manga Edge of Balance. So it's a busy month and should be a busy year. But that's it for December. The Canon Update will return on February 1st to cover all these new stories. Until then, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.